Hi, Louise Skeen here. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm mind body health coach for women over the age of 40, and today I'm making a curry because it's really cold here in Australia, and when it's cold, don't we just love to have soups and stews and curries? So today what I'm making is a fragrant chicken and butter bean curry. So what I need you to do for this recipe is, and I've got it all ready here, so we've got olive oil, we've got white wine vinegar, and I've got butter beans, of course, and I've actually drained mine and have it ready to go. You can actually keep the juice of this if you like, but I don't like to put the juice of what's been in a can in a recipe, so I'm actually going to change it up. I've actually got rid of all the juice, I've rinsed all the butter beans, and I'm actually going to use a Greek yogurt instead. So I'm using Greek yogurt instead of the juice of the butter beans. You're going to need ginger. Now you can use like a 5 centimetre piece of fresh ginger, but look, I like convenience, so I do everything minced in a bottle. So ginger is minced, we'll need some garlic, which I have minced as well, and you're going to need some red chilli. Now you might prefer the red chilies, get 2 of those, otherwise I use again the chilli that's already in the jar. You're going to need some curry powder, coriander. I actually am going to, again, I've got mine as a coriander paste rather than fresh coriander, because what I find is you buy, you spend $4 or $5 on fresh coriander, and you really only do need a small amount, so it's a waste, and the rest of it actually goes off in the fridge. So it's entirely up to you. If you grow your own coriander, you're in a good position to be able to use it fresh. You're going to need 3 medium-sized tomatoes, and we're going to chop those up. And what else? Oh, and of course you need chicken. So I actually use the biotic-free chicken. It's entirely up to you. Mine's free range. You use what you like. I've got about 700 grams of chicken here, and that's because I'm feeding a family of 2 very large men and myself, so that's going to work. And then you need about 2 medium onions, or 2 large onions, beg your pardon, but I'm actually using 3 small onions, and I've already chopped mine up, so they're ready to go as well. And you're going to need some lime, so just grab a nice fresh lime, cut it in half, because we're going to use the juice of the lime, which you can just imagine the fragrance and the flavours with what I've just said we're having. Now the other thing is you need a low but a big pan that we can cook all this up. Now we're going to get started on this. Now I've got my oven set, and you're going to need to do the same at 170 degrees Celsius. So get that oven turned on first, preheat it, because whilst that's heating up, you can actually start to throw everything in here. So what we're going to start with now, with these hot plates, they're super fast, which is wonderful. So I'm actually going to start with the onion first. So I'm just going to take my little chopper out here. I'm going to grab a spoon so that I can use every part of this. We love onions, so I hope if you love onion too, you might want to put a little extra in, which I have, so it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to pop my onion, half of my onion in, and just a dollop of the olive oil. I don't like to use too much oil if I don't have to. It's entirely up to you. Olive oil is very good for you. So there are good fats and there are bad fats, and that's a good fat. So you can certainly, be a little bit more generous if you like to, if you haven't had too many fats in the day. All right, so I've got my onion half in, my oil went in. Now I've got the rest of the onion going in. Now this is where you'll put your ginger in, grated ginger, and your chilli, and your garlic. It's entirely up to you as to, again, whether you're going to use it fresh or whether you're getting it out of a jar. Now with the garlic, I'm doing about a quarter of a tablespoon of garlic, only because I don't like it too strong. It's entirely up to you. Now with the ginger, again, I'm getting mine out of a jar, and I'm going to use the last of it. So I've got about half a tablespoon of ginger here. So you can imagine the fragrance that's starting to come out. Now with the chilli, I'm actually going to use teaspoon here, 2 teaspoons. With this actual jar of chilli, which I shall show you, okay, this isn't really strong chilli. If you're using fresh chilies, they're going to be strong, you only need 2. So I'm going to use 2 teaspoons in my recipe here today, but I'm only going to put half in now. So half goes in, so 1 teaspoon only. Okay, and I'm going to mix all that around. Now you're going to want to mix this around for about, probably about 10 minutes, just to allow the onion to get, you know, nice and fragrant and mix in with all the stuff that we've just put in there, which smells divine. And look, this is where because I've got a paste of coriander, I'm actually putting my coriander in now. The coriander, if it's fresh, you're going to put it on your recipe at the end, okay? But right now, because mine's actually a paste in a tube, I'm putting my coriander in now so it gets right through the onion as well and has loads of flavour. And look, I'm probably going to put a little bit more in because it's the end of the tube. Why not? You know, that's the beauty about cooking. You can really just do what suits you. So, throwing it all around, fantastic flavours. I know this is going to taste amazing. All right, so that's all happening there. Now, while that's happening, okay, I'm going to add the chicken in. So again, I've got about 700 grams of chicken here. You choose what you'd like. You can use chicken thighs. Make sure you take obviously the flesh off the bone, discard the bone. But I actually use chicken breast, okay? So mine's very lean, no fat on it whatsoever. In it goes. Now, I'm not going to cook this up for 15 minutes or 10 minutes in front of you because that's going to take too much time. So I'm going to cut the video and come back in a moment. So what I'm doing is I'm actually mixing everything together so you can see. The onion, the garlic, the chilli and the ginger are all in here, and the coriander, as I said, because it's out of a tube. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off my stove. I'm going to place this entire pan in the oven, and I'm going to let it sit there and cook. And while it's doing that, even though I will cut for a moment, I'm just going to slip this in. Right, to my oven, so it's in there now. What I'm going to do whilst I'm cooking that in the oven is I'm going to start to chop my tomatoes, okay? As I said, 3 medium-sized tomatoes, and we're going to chop those up and they're going to get added to the dish. So I'll do that now. I'll chop the video and then I'll come back and we'll carry on with the recipe. Okay, so I've taken the pan out of the oven, and what I've done now is I've actually added the tomato in, so you can actually see, and the curry. So both of those go in the pan. You can see that that's happening. I'll put it back on the high heat for now, because what you need to do now is, if you're using fresh chilli, now's the time you put your fresh chilli into a small bowl and you're just going to top it up with the vinegar, okay? And just let it sit for a little while. So I'm adding in my extra teaspoon of chilli, and now I'm actually going to add in the white wine vinegar. Now, how much you put in is entirely up to you. If you're a vinegar person like me, you're going to be a little bit generous with it. If you're not a vinegar person, just top those chilies so that, again, they can ferment in there and just do what they need to do. Okay, so I'm just going to go a little bit generous on there. Okay, white wine vinegar. So it's going to sit there. Now this recipe is a lot of just placing in the oven and waiting. So while that's happening and it's doing its thing in the oven, you of course can cook, clean up after yourself, go and grab a cup of tea, whatever it is that you'd like to do. So in this case, what I need to do at the moment is I'm going to now, let's say that the second lot, after you've put your tomato in and you put your curry in, you're going to you're going to pop that back in the oven for another probably about 20 minutes, then bring it back out again, which is where I'm at the moment. From here, I'm actually just going to stir my chilli into my vinegar because I haven't let it sit for as long as I'd like to. I'll probably let that sit for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to throw in, or really it's going to be while the previous step was in there for 20 minutes in the oven. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to pop my beans in. Yeah, they are so beautiful, those butter beans. They're just perfect butter beans. You can buy organic, and of course I have, but it's entirely up to you what you do. You don't have to. So I'm going to pretend that my chili's been sitting in my vinegar for about 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, and then I'm now going to tip that in as well. So, a fragrant chicken it is, let me tell you. I'm going to stir all that around. I'm going to take it off the high heat, because guess what? It's going back into the oven. Alright, so you've got your oven still on. I'm just going to mix that around so that those butter beans are all coated. Oh yeah. Okay, and yet again, this particular pan will now go back into the oven, and it's going to go into the oven for about another 10 minutes. Now, at that point, when I take it out, I'm going to then add what you would add if you want to, because it's going to get a bit sticky, is you can add the butter beans, like the sauce that it's in the can. You can add a little bit in there just to loosen everything up. But when I pull mine out in 10 minutes time, I'm actually going to add the yogurt, the Greek yogurt in there, okay? Because I don't want to use, as I said earlier, the sauce that comes from those butter beans. Entirely up to you as to what you do. But what's going to happen when I put, actually let me get this back into the oven, because I can talk. Excuse me a moment. Alright, so while that's in there cooking for another 10 minutes, the yogurt's going to, again, yogurts go absolutely perfect instead of cream when it comes into your curries and any, hot pots that you might be doing. You don't have to use cream. Use your Greek yogurt because it's so, so fewer in calories. Not that I'm a calorie counter, but again, we're talking about fats and calories and all those things. So it is actually a better choice for you to use your Greek yogurt. It's healthier for your gut as well. So why not use that and save on the additional fats that you get in your creams that you don't really need. Okay, so after that comes out in that 10 minutes, what I'm going to do, as I said, is I'm going to add that Greek yogurt in there and just mix it all around. It's going to get that beautiful consistency of a curry in there, and then I'm going to squeeze the lime all over the top of it, okay? So let's do that so you can see what's happening. Let me just grab my mitt so I don't burn my hand. Okay. I won't turn the heat back on again on the stove. It's not necessary to do. There's a lot of heat in this pan at the moment. Alright, so here comes the Greek yogurt. Open that through, get a nice new clean tablespoon. Oh yeah. Gee, I get very tempted just to eat this the way it is. It's so yummy. Alright, I'm going to put in at start with about four big dollops. Okay, mix it all around. Definitely taking on that look of a curry here. Smells divine. Those beans are just so beautiful. Chicken's all cooked. Tomatoes have softened up, which is lovely. And I think I might even put one extra. Oh no, actually I think my $4 is probably perfect. You've got to gauge what works for you and of course what you like on your palate or with your palate as well. Now, once that's all done, in comes the lime. So this is going to loosen it all up in here again. So if you're a person like me who loves citrus, get on in there and squeeze that lime through. If you're not a fan of too much of it, of course, you'll just monitor it and not be as generous as I'm being right now with all that. Alright, so let's have a look. Around it goes. Whoop. Butter bean just flew out of there. I'll have to eat it. Perfect. Okay. Not a difficult meal to make. Pretty simple really. Excuse me. It takes a lot of time in the oven, which gives you the freedom of time to do other things while it's cooking for 20 minutes or whatever it might be, 2 or 3 times. So that's all done. Team it up with some brown mountain rice or something like that, and it's a perfect meal. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.